Rolling dice in Foundry VTT doesn't have to just be a simple message in your game's chat. All rolls can instead be represented by gorgeous 3D dice that bounce around the screen to give you a more immersive TTRPG experience. All you need is one simple module. Dice So Nice. Oh, and you're going to want to stick around until later in the video, because I'm going to show you how you can get more 3D dice customization options for Dice So Nice for free. Hi there, my name is Foundry, your VTT wizard, and I have over 300 hours in Foundry VTT. On this channel called Dice and Easy, I give you VTT tutorials and daily TTRPG memes as YouTube shorts. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, hit the subscribe button down there. As usual, before we jump into the Dice So Nice tutorial itself, a few disclaimers are in order. Firstly, I'm running the latest stable version of Foundry version 10 because that is the highest version that the module officially supports. Yes, it might work in version 11, but I can't guarantee it. Secondly, I'm running the D&D 5e game system, but you might encounter specific bugs or issues in other game systems. And lastly, remember to turn on the module in your game world settings, otherwise it won't work. Also, all the links to the modules that I mentioned in this video will be in the description box below. With all of that out of the way, let's jump into Foundry VTT. All right, we are now inside Foundry VTT, and I'll remind you again first, remember to turn the module on from your module settings here in the settings, and then manage modules and go to Dice So Nice, turn it on, and save settings, and then Foundry will reload and you are sure to have the module working. Once you've done that, in order to set up what your dice look like, we're going to go to Configure Settings, and once we're in our settings, we find Dice So Nice. I already have it selected here, and open up its settings. There's a bunch of settings here that I'm not going to go into right now. You can have a look at them yourself. What we're going to go into is the 3D dice settings. This is where you're going to be configuring what your dice look like. So if we click that, opens up this menu. So this menu is where you're going to be changing how your dice look. You can see at the top there's a preview here showing all of your dice with the chosen customizations here at the bottom. Now, this is handy because when you're going to be changing these parameters, it's going to be changing these dice here in real time. So you can see what they actually look like without having to save and then do a test roll or anything like that. So let's go down here to these dice presets. First, we're going to look at the faces. So this is basically what your face of a die is going to look like. For most of them, it's just going to affect what the font of the numbers look like and how they're styled. So for example, if we choose standard, it is a more thin look on the numbers there, and they're kind of extruding a little bit if I'm not mistaken. Then we have spectrum. This is a major change because this is a whole theme of kind of cyberpunky neon look, so it's going to change the overall look of the dice as well. But then Foundry VTT, which is the one that I like to use because it's bold and easy to read, looks like this. And then we have dot white, which is mostly similar to the standard one, but your D6 has dots instead of numbers, and then the same, but the dots are black instead of white. So let's go back to Foundry VTT, the one that I use. So that's just the faces. That's fairly simple. But then the interesting one is theme. So this is going to be a big one because this essentially affects how the overall dice looks and feels like, so to speak. So if we hop on over here, at the top, you're going to have colors. So these are just your basic colors, nothing too special about them. For example, if we take black, the dice are black. If we choose blue, it's blue. It's just one solid color, cyan here, and green. So it's just a single solid color that you can pick from here, except rainbow, which is going to be an assortment of those single colors, and random, which is going to be each of your dice is going to get a random theme chosen for them. But other than that, they're just single colors. Fairly simple. By the way, if at any point you want to do a test roll with these dice, there's a little button down here that says test roll. If you click it, boom, you get a test roll. And then you can see what those dice look on your map. Now, you might want to go for a simple single color. I myself find it a little bit basic. So going down here, there are a bunch more interesting type of themes, but these are going to get a little bit wonkier, let's just say. So first we have damage types. So you could, in theory, set macros for yourself if you wanted to roll a specific type of damage, but these are basically themed on different types of damages. So we have acid, air, nice kind of translucent look, cold, earth, fire, force, lightnings. As you can see, these are getting a lot more interesting in my opinion. Not all of them work or are stuff that I personally like, but you can do interesting stuff with these. We got necrotic, poison, psychic, radiant, thunder, and water. Those are all of the damage types. You can already see some very interesting looks that you can have there. Then we're going to go to themes so nice. So these are themes that are going to be a little bit more out there. They're going to be a little bit stronger, let's say. So let's say Astral Sea, for example, looks like this. Very nice, very nice. We got Blood Moon. And we got just the regular old Foundry VTT theme. So it's similar to the red one, but there's a little bit of a gradient in the middle of the number that you can see there. And we have Glitter Party, Inspired, Pastel Sunset, ooh, wonderful. Pink Dreams, that's a lot, but hey, whatever floats your boat. Starry Night, and finally, my favorite, Thylian Bronze. It's just so stylish. Looks so cool, so nice. Then at the very bottom, we have the acquired taste ones. These are the really weird, really out there ones. They're super, super out there, I'll tell you what. These ones I would be very careful with, but let's go through them so you can decide if you want to use them. First is Bird Up. Then we got Here Be Dragons. Kind of a dragon scale look there. Then we got Prism. Very shiny. Then we got Tiger King. And we have Toxic as the last one. So some of these, like Toxic, I could see that working, but some of them are a little bit much for my tastes. So these are all of the basic themes that you have here. Let me put on Thylian Bronze back, because I'll talk about the next part. So in theory, just with the faces and theme, you're kind of fine. You can already get a lot of different variations there. But if you want to go to even more customization, you certainly can. So below here, we have texture. So texture is what it sounds like. It chooses a specific texture for your dice. By default, it's going to be set to none/auto from the theme, because every theme has a texture set to it, or there isn't a texture, like the flat colors, for example. But Thylian Bronze is a specific texture for it. But let's say I like the Thylian Bronze look, but I want a different texture for it. I want marble. So now it looks like this. It doesn't quite work, but you see what I mean. We can go for different types of looks here, like stained glass. It looks like this with the Thylian Bronze theme. So with this, you can go into much more granular detail on what you want your dice to look like. But like I said, they can end up looking kind of weird. I usually like to keep them as the auto theme, because the theme is designed to look a specific way with a specific texture. And the same goes for the material. So material here means, like, what is the dice made of? Is it made of metal? Is it made of wood? Plastic? What type of material is it? Because what it's made of in the real world, the light, how it reflects off of it and how it absorbs light, etc., would be different depending on what material it's made of. So it's the same here, essentially, within Foundry as well. So again, the automatic or the default option here is auto theme/texture. So it takes the material from the theme. So for Thylian Bronze, you want this kind of metallic look, for example. But let's say I would want this to be stone. I could change the material. Now it looks more like stone. Not quite, it looks a little bit weird because the theme is not designed for this material, but you see what I mean here. You can choose different materials to get a different type of look, how the light reflects off and how it absorbs light, etc. So metal would be, I believe metal is the one that it uses by default, but there are a bunch of other ones, like chrome to give it a more shiny look, for example. This actually could work. Like, you could go Thylian Bronze and have chrome, so it's like super shiny if you would like to. So here again, you can do a lot of customization to fit your specific needs. And remember, at any point, you can always do a test roll to see what it looks like. And finally, we have the font. So what font do the numbers use? Again, I was just going with the auto, so the theme has been designed with a certain package in mind, certain textured material and font. So you could go and, let's say you want Modesto condensed. I think that was the font that was, let's say Signica. You want that? Okay, we choose Signica, or Courier New. You know, you can change the font here to your liking. I like to keep it at auto because, again, all these themes have been designed with certain fonts and materials and textures in mind. But if you want to go buck wild, you certainly can. I would probably recommend that if you go for any of these flat colors, let's take blue, for example. Any of these flat colors, I would probably go here and mess with the textures and the materials. So let's take the blue one. We could go for like a water kind of look. Kinda. Let's see, like water transparent. What does that mean? Okay, it makes like okay, yeah, like semi-transparent look. Yeah, we can go for that. And then the material, maybe we make it like glass. So then it has this kind of glassy look. Kind of like it. What about iridescent? No, not quite. Pristine, maybe? Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. And then the font, let's say we want to make it Signica. Look a little different. So here, this could be a kind of dice that we customize for ourselves. Do a test roll here. And that's what this dice looks like. Not too shabby, not too bad. So I would recommend maybe with like the basic colors and the damage types, play around with the materials. But the lower you go on this list, the less I would recommend finicking around with these materials. Now, let's say you would like to customize just one of these. You want a different specific theme, material, textures, etc. for your different dice. You just go over here and click on the specific dice and it'll open a new tab here. Now you're editing only the D20. So if we now choose Glitter Party, it will only change the D20. And then if you want to go back to your global one, you can get back to there this way. So if you want to go and customize one by one, or just one of them you want to be different for one reason or another, you can do that. So here you also have label color, dice color, outline color, and edge color. These are grayed out, however, and I don't know if there is a way to mess with them. So that's all there is to this basic customization area where you can make the dice look the way you want to, but there are also other tabs up here which are important for us to have a look at. So let's go into them quickly and see what they are. First, you have preferences. Let me zoom in. Preferences are fairly simple. So you can choose if you want to automatically hide the dice and how quickly in milliseconds the dice will hide. You usually want that because otherwise the dice are just going to stay on your screen, which probably is not what you want. Then what type of effect do you want to hide? They just pop, vanish, or they fade out? Fade out is quite nice in my opinion. It's a little less jarring for your eyes. Then do you want a sound effect to be played when the dice roll on the table? Because there's a sound that plays. And you can mute all sounds for GM/blind/self roll. So basically dice rolls that you can't see, you can mute those if you find those to be disturbing. And then how loud is that sound? Lastly, you can choose what is the table surface sound. So you can choose a felt, wood table, wood tray, or metal. And this changes what is the sound that gets played when your dice hit the table, which is quite nice. Felt is quite cool. I like it. It's like soft and doesn't get in the way too much. So I like felt myself, but you can try out those different sounds. Again, there's the test roll over here. So you can go to preferences, change it, test it there. See what you like. Automatically scale the dice. Usually I like to keep this on. I don't see any need to not scale them. You might want to scale them yourself. Let's say if you want to create an area of your screen where you roll the dice. So in the first options here, let me move this. There's an option here to set the rollable area. By default, it's the whole scene. So maybe you want to just make it one area for some reason. And then you could set the scaling of the dice to be bigger so that you can actually read them, for example. And then if you don't set that to auto, you can change it here. Then the animation speed. How fast do the dice animate when they roll? Normal is usually just fine. Then do you want the dice to be rolled over sheets that you have open on the screen or under? Over is usually fine for me. And then how hard are the dice thrown? Because the harder they're thrown, the more they bounce around. I usually use it medium, and that's just fine. And then you have an option here to override your dice appearance when a theme is used to describe dice, for example, acid, and enable immersive darkness mode so that the dice react to the scene lighting. You can choose to have these on or off, depending on what you like. So these are just your basic preferences. Then we have special effects. These are actually quite fun. You can choose to show other players special effects or not. It's up to you. So what you can do is if you score a specific roll on a dice, something can happen. So this will probably be, if you're doing D&D 5th edition, this will be your nat 1s and your nat 20s. That's usually where you want to do that. So click the little plus to add a new entry. You can go to dice type. We'll go D20. And then on result, we'll go result 20. we want a thing to happen. So there's two things here. There's unique, white glow, and darkness. So these are just like special effects that get played on the dice. There's animation, so it animates the outline. There's glass impact. I don't know what Thormund TTE is exactly, some kind of animation. Then you can have particles, double spiral, blaze, magic vortex, or you can play sounds as well. So if you have epic win, I think it plays a fanfare of sorts. And then if you have epic fail, it's like sad fanfare, womp 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 kind of thing. And then lastly, you have custom file sound. So if you want to play a custom sound, for example, in one of my Curse of Strahd campaigns, one of my players wanted to have a air horn like meh 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 when there's a D20. So I did that. So you choose sound, custom file, and then you click this little cog icon, and it's going to ask where the sound file is. And then you can go here and then choose where it is, and so on. And then you can choose if all players hear it, or if you want to mute the sound as well. So those are all the options. Oh, you also have an option to execute a custom macro if you have some other things that you want to do. So these are all the options that you can do with a specific roll result. So that would be for let's say we want a glass impact animation for our D20, and then our D21 roll, we want a epic fail sound. So that's how you would do it. And then this next part is actually very important, which is performance. Now, 3D dice can be quite heavy on the performance side, especially if you have players who have less than stellar PCs, let's just say. They have weaker machines. Before you outright turn them off completely, you should come look at these settings. So by default, I believe they're going to be set at the highest possible option. So I would recommend first dropping to medium on the image quality and then going to low to try out how those things affect rolling dice. And if it still makes your game run slow for either you or one of your players, like I mentioned here in appearance, you can just turn it off. Or actually, I didn't mention that. I was going to mention that. But here in appearance, there's enable 3D dice. This does not affect other players, so you can turn it off just for yourself. So you're just going to have normal rolls as without dice so nice, and everyone else is going to see 3D dice rolls. So that's like the last resort that I would say you should go for. Before that, check out performance and try to lower it first to medium and then low. And if it's still a problem, then go here. Right, then lastly, we have backup and restore. So if you want to save the dice settings that you have, import, export, you can do it all from here. Now, I promised you at the beginning of the video that I'm going to show you how you can add more customization for free to Dice So Nice, and that is what we're going to do now, because there are a bunch of modules that you can install on Foundry that add additional customization options for Dice So Nice. So let me show you those right now. First is Arca Stream dice for Dice So Nice. So now when we go here into Faces, we have a new option called Arca Stream. So you're going to have to enable it through the modules as usual and, install the module, etc. So if we choose Arca Stream for Faces, and that's all it does, it gives you an additional face preset for your dice so that it looks a little bit different. But then the next one, which is called Weighted Companion Cube, is funnily specific. It is the companion cube from Portal. It's a funnily specific dice preset that you can choose for yourself so that you have the Portal themed dice if that's what you want to do. Maybe you're doing an Aperture Science TTRPG and you want this specifically. So this is a funnily specific one. And the next one is the Foundry VTT Anniversary dice set made by Rollsmith. And it's a very cool one. Let me show you that now. So this one adds a new base preset for you called the Rollsmith Foundry VTT. If you put that on, it creates this cool metallic lava looking dice, which are just really badass. They're maybe a little bit hard to read. That was my only problem that I had. Like the numbers there are a little bit hard to read, but they're very, very cool dice. And by the way, if you're wondering where can you get all these free dice, these cool new sets, links are below in the description. You'll find them there. You can find the modules and install them to Foundry, and remember to turn the modules on. Always remember. The next one is also by the Rollsmith, and it's called the Iridescent Rainbow set. So if we once again go to Faces and the dice presets, we choose the Rollsmith Iridescent Rainbow, it gives us this wonderful rainbow color. And hey, it is in fact Pride Month, and This preset was made for Pride Month a few years ago, so it is very fitting. So if you want to celebrate Pride or just in general have rainbow colored dice, here's a way to do that. This next one is called Lordu's Dice for Dice So Nice, and this actually adds a bit more than the previous ones that added just like one or two things. Here now, if we go to dice presets, you can see there's these new ones that have this little frog icon. That's how you know they're from the Lordu set. So if we choose Dark Deeds as the preset, it changes the font once again, and this little symbol there in the D6. And then if we go to Forbidden Knowledge, once again, different type of face set. So this, you're wondering, it doesn't look that different. Well, the themes are where it gets interesting, folks. So now you can see at the bottom, there's LCD Forbidden Knowledge and LCD Dark Deeds. Let's have a look at what these dice look like. So Ancient Walls. They do in fact look like ancient walls. That is very true. And now you can see that the Forbidden Knowledge set here has the face preset as well there. So then Cursed Visions, very nice, very nice. Then we got Dark Words, ooh, very stylish. Hammered Glory, ooh, very nice. We got Liquid Horrors, interesting, interesting. We got Old Brimstone, this is very stylish, I like this. We have Rugged Path, Streaks, this is wonderfully simple, but very nice. And last on the Forbidden Knowledge list, Unnatural Growth, Thorn growth kind of thing. And then if we switch to Dark Deeds, we have 3. So Dark Tarnished Copper, quite a cool look. And we have Forgotten Pact. And lastly, Savior's Blessing. On top of that, Lordu's also adds new textures. So if you scroll down, you can see once again the little frog icon. You can see a bunch of new textures here, which you can try to see how it works with the previous stuff that you have here. And then we also have a bunch of new fonts, so there are many new fonts to choose from here. So you can once again mix and match to find a combination that works best for you. And this is another big customization addition. It's called Nice More Dice. So if you look at the dice presets, you see we have a lot of new dice presets that came in here. So I won't go over all of these because it'll take quite a long time, but the main thing here is to see that, for example, they have the Dragon D20 here. It will replace the 20 with a dragon, 20 for best, or you can do it the other way around where 1 is the best, so it replaces your 1 with a dragon. And on top of that, it also adds a bunch of new textures. You can see this little symbol here once again denoting the new textures. So let's try this cosmic one, for example. It makes this Thillian bronze look like this. So once again, you can play around with all of these different options here, but there's quite a few new things that get added here with this one that you can really play around with to get all kinds of unique looks for your dice. And then finally, if you are willing to pay a little bit, then there are also paid options that the Rollsmith, so the iridescent dice, and the Foundry anniversary set that I showed you, those are made by the Rollsmith. They also sell specific ones for Foundry for you to use. If you want to have a look at what they're offering up for sale, link to their stores in the chat. Not a paid thing. I just thought I'd shout them out because their dice are cool. And there you have it. If you have all of these extra modules for Dice So Nice, you're going to have a huge amount of customization options to make all kinds of cool dice. So get Dice So Nice, get those extra modules, links are in the description box, and create some really cool dice. I'd love to see them. How'd you like that? Beautiful 3D dice rolls in Foundry VTT games to make your adventures more immersive. I personally love this module as it makes the game feel a bit more like playing at an actual table, and each player can be expressive in how they choose to customize their dice. Was this video helpful for you? Leave a comment below to let me know what you thought of this video, and while you're scrolling down there, I would kindly ask you to like and subscribe to this video. Those seem like small things, but they really help my channel out a lot, and I would really appreciate it. On top of making YouTube videos, I also stream on twitch.tv/diceandeasy every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern European Time, which is 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Link to my channel is also in the description box below. On the screen right now, you're going to see another video of mine where I show you how to create beautiful special effects on your Foundry VTT maps with a module called FX Master. You should check out that tutorial. It's a banger. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.